Hi, I'm Munya.
I'm Tanya Alex.
My name is Chimwemwe.
I am a stand-up comedian, actress. I have a day job in marketing and professionally a civil engineer.
This is always so awkward. Like, introduce yourself. Hi, I'm Munya. Done. I guess it's been a few years. I think since 2018. Which sounds like a long time, but like because it's Zim and performance opportunities are a bit thin on the ground, given that we don't have disposable income. So I guess it's been maths is so hard. 3, 4 years, something like that since 2018. Yeah.
I started stand-up comedy in 2019 in April. Yeah, I was bored. I was already working and in my office, and I was bored. And then I was just like, "Is this my life? Like, is this what I'm going to do for the rest of my life?" So then I thought about doing other things like theater, and I was like, "No, but I want to get paid." I looked up, I just was wondering, is there comedy in Zimbabwe, stand-up comedy in Zimbabwe? And then I went on Facebook and just typed stand-up comedy in Zimbabwe. The Simuka page came up. There was a number on the page. So I called Doc and I was like, "Hi Doc, my name is Tanya, I want to try." And he's like, "Okay, we have a show on Friday." This was like on Tuesday or something. He's like, "Okay, we have a show on Friday at UZ. Just come, I'm throwing you into the deep end." Apparently I did okay. I wasn't quite sure, but these guys went and told Doc, "She is amazing." Doc called me and he's like, "You have to come back next week." So then I went, and this time Doc was there. So I performed and Doc was like, "Yes, you're doing great. Please come back next month." And that's how it started. It was just every month I was being called back to shows and I was performing as an open micer. Until eventually I landed myself on the poster, and the rest is history.
I started stand-up comedy about a year ago because I was bullied by Monya, who is bigger than me and therefore can beat me up if I don't do what she says. So she just called me one day and she was like, "Hey, write a set, and on the 31st of October we're going to do a show." I wrote a show about white people. I wrote a set about white people, and then I performed it in front of a bunch of white people. I did not expect it to happen like that, but it went all right, so I kept on doing more shows.
It just looks so cool. So for like 6 years before that, I was just watching stand-up comedy thinking I want to do that, but I can never do that. And then Louis the Prince of Comedy just pushed me to just go for it. And everybody at Simuka and in the community in general was so kind, and Doc Yela especially he just did not accept no for an answer, so that's how I just kept doing it beyond the once that I signed up for it.
I think the first stand-up comedian I watched was David Cow, the South African. And that then went into Trevor Noah, and then that opened me up to American comedians as well. I've watched all of them.
There's Zainab Johnson. She's an American comedian. I'm also inspired by this other one whose name I've forgotten. It's the jokes that are important. Obviously, Munya, she inspires me because she's the one who made me start. So, yeah, I have to say that.
They come from everyday life. Things I've experienced, conversations I've had with people, situations I've been in. Sometimes it's a different take of a situation I've been in, looking at something in a different perspective, there's one joke I used to do. I don't really talk about it anymore, but I was walking in town in the park, and there were girls just taking pictures of each other on someone's birthday. And I kept looking at the way this girl was posing. She constantly looked surprised in these poses. So she's like, as if she didn't know that her friends were there to throw her birthday party. There was a cake, there was a photographer. Like, for me, little things like that are funny, and those are the things I put in my comedy set.
Panic, 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 go to the toilet, panic again, and then hope for the best. And then panic some more, and then go to the toilet again after.
Whenever I have like a joke come into my mind, I'm like, oh, I have to write this down on my phone or on a piece of paper or whatever. And sometimes I will just sit down and try to work through each joke, make sure that there's like a proper setup and a proper punchline for each of them. So the process is sometimes random and then sometimes very planned. And also it involves a lot of panic 2 days before the show when I'm like, oh my God, I haven't written anything for the show. So, yeah.
Perfect comedy night. It was a December comedy show, like our last comedy show of the year, and I think it was 2019. Yeah, it was 2019. And all the comedians were performing on the same night. I performed a set that I repeatedly been doing this set, and sometimes I'd get a few laughs, sometimes I would bomb with the same set. For that night, I kind of worked on it. On the actual day, I put it away. I was like, I don't want to look at it. I don't care what happens. If I bomb, I bomb. And I ended up having a stand-up ovation. So that was, for me, one of the most, can't say a perfect night, but one of the more memorable ones.
Outline my achievements. I mean, I don't know, because it's like, how are you defining achievements? Is this like awards someone else gives you, or like your personal like, yay, I did this? What do you mean by achievements? Okay, a really big achievement for me was when I went to, it was Blues Night, I think, or something like that, at Blues in Kenya, in Nairobi, and I had a full-on panic attack. And it was one of the worst panic attacks I ever had. Like, I almost lost consciousness, like I was sinking on the floor. It was terrible. And then the irrational part of it disappeared, and then I was like, I think I can do this. And then I went and did like a solid 20 minutes, which was really nice, because I don't know if I'd done 20 minutes before that well as well, which was sad because they kept flashing the light because I was only supposed to do like 10 or something, but it is what it is. And my eyeliner stayed perfect the entire, it was amazing. We all clapped, it was wonderful. And I think in terms of like not just stand-up comedy, but I do improv as well, and actually was too scared of improv, and I came back to stand-up and I was like, I need to get better at stand-up, maybe like scripted stuff before I get better at improv. And I'm actually doing, like, now I feel more comfortable with the rest of the team there, and it's kind of the reverse now. Sometimes with stand-up you're like, oh, what if I'm the one person who like gets the showdown? But I'm getting better at overcoming that and just focusing on doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And I think another personal milestone is having people who individually like what you're doing. So you're not just like a blend of the scene. It's like, I like specifically when you said this because it made me feel seen, it made me feel heard, and that's what that feels really nice, that you get to make somebody individually feel better about something specific in their life, not just general ha 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 laughs. And in terms of awards, well, you know, so none so far. But yes, we're, please nominate Monya and vote for Monya.
Getting started and actually just standing in front of people, which is scary as hell. My second milestone was when white people laughed at jokes about white people, which I felt like I solved racism, so congrats to me. So yeah, those are my biggest achievements so far. Next year we go for the awards. There's not that many shows to practice at, you know, with something like stand-up. The more you do shows, the more you work on your set, the better, you know. So you could work on your set, but if there's nobody to practice in front of, if there's no audience to practice in front of, then you can't really get better. So I think that's one of the main problems that I've faced. And also just being able to figure out my audiences and being like, oh, okay, maybe don't say nasty things about white people in front of white people, or, you know, making sure that like it works for whatever audience I'm performing in front of. So yeah, those are, I think, my two biggest complications.
Challenges I've faced mostly have been like particularly like Zim ones. So like I said, we don't really have disposable income as a society, so you don't really get as many opportunities to perform as you want. Like shows happen at month end because then we've been paid, and like the crowd's kind of small sometimes. So if they come on Friday, they're not necessarily going to come again like next Friday or like on Saturday or something like that. But they're really great when they do come out. And I think some of the other challenges, I think, yeah, starting on time because I get sleepy. And some people are like 7. I think Jatango Gezan at 7, and then they rock up like 8:30. And then that's when the show has to start.
I think there's a lot of, what can I say? I think camaraderie with guys. They find each other, and you know, boys in the hood, they bring each other up, but they don't do the same for female comedians. So we always are the ones who have to get up and look for opportunities to perform ourselves. And we're not always received as warmly as the guys. And it's easier for the guys because they can get together, they can crash at each other's houses and stuff. If I am the only female comedian on that night, I can't just crash at the guys' houses after the performance. I have to make a plan for transport to get there, perform, make a plan for transport to get home, because I'm not just gonna sleep over at somebody's house and make my way home tomorrow morning, you know? Well, I mean, it depends on what my intentions are for the night. Nah, say it.
One of the other challenges is when, just like the kind of jokes sometimes people tell, especially like the male comedians, so there's a lot of like homophobic jokes, and it's not even a joke, it's like the joke is that someone's gay, so it's like there's no joke. And then because men are perceived to be funny, there's a lot of competing with boys who just get up on stage and don't actually tell a joke, they just state something. And then people laugh at that, and then you're working on an actual punchline, like an actual subversion of something, and then you have to and then people telling you like, sorry, you need to edit your script, you tell me where the actual jokes are and we'll just film those, and you're like, I have a joke per line, what? So like different senses of humor I think are kind of difficult, because Zimbabweans do have this kind of thing where they want to present our culture is like one monolithic, this is what you must be, and like nothing else, you must like this music, and if you don't, I'm in, or you're white, or you're whatever. But that's not true. So it's hard sometimes when like it's most of the crowd thinking that way, and then again there's that one person who's like, I felt so seen, and that's really nice. But yeah, like going up on stage after somebody who's just done 20 minutes about how you are irrational or stupid or something because of your gender, and it's like, how am I supposed to follow that and have people respect me and want to listen to me if you just spent 20 minutes decimating my entire identity? It's really weird, and I wish people did more in-house to stop it and discourage each other from that kind of thing, because especially another thing that's annoying, backstage. So of course like everyone's a comedian and they're trying to like warm up, you know, if they were like sports people, they'd like do sprints or whatever, so everybody's cracking jokes, and then everybody's cracking like the easy, like low-reaching fruit, right? So it's a lot of like sex jokes or whatever at your expense. So you're like, I'm here to do my job and I'm trying to focus. And I remember another comedian brought this up, that it's difficult in stand-up comedy to like define a professional environment, because like it's already after work at drinks for most people, so things should fly. But like, it's still sexual harassment because I'm here to do my job. Like, don't be disturbing me from going over like what things I want to say on stage because you felt the need to make the like 6 dick jokes. And the thing is, another challenge, they're never original. I remember literally one time this man cracked this joke he thought was so original, and it was the 4th time I'd heard it that night, and I'd only been there like 20 minutes. it's literally always the same shitty jokes, and you have to like laugh to like make an easy atmosphere for everybody. Otherwise, you're like the bitch in the room, or women are too sensitive, or whatever. And it's like, guys, I don't know how to break this to you. You're just not funny. But they, they're your colleagues, so you just go. Deep down inside. Yeah, those are my challenges. I think a big part of it is not presenting so male dominated, because people say, oh, it's so male dominated, what can we do? And then continue just like being absolute dickheads on stage. No woman wants to join a comedy group or whatever where the actual comedians go up and then shit on women half the time, because nobody's gonna want to, like, you don't want to join that group. You're gonna think, I'm not gonna fit in, no one's gonna, and especially like if the audience has been trained to laugh at that and you're trying to bring something different, you're just gonna automatically think, I have no space, I'm not gonna have an audience, because that's what everybody's used to laughing at. They're used to laughing at me. So I think that's what it actually begins with. It's not enough to like say, oh, we want to bring on female comedians and then behave like dickishly backstage. It's not enough. It's in the actual like magariro as the collective, as the community, as everything. Like the actual habits need to reflect that. Otherwise, it's just mouth service. You're not actually doing anything. And I've started a collective for women and queer people in comedy. So having more performance spaces that are just a little more, people aren't expecting you to come and be like Dave Chappelle or Chris Rock or something. Like, we're just coming to feel seen and heard, and providing a little more hands-on support in terms of like writing and stuff, so you get sort of eased into it and you have a place to breathe. Like I was saying, you have a backstage area where like you're all cracking jokes but not at your expense or something like that. And I think we need more of those, so please join CKSI Collective. And yeah, to the guys out there, like, just stop being dickheads, man. It's so simple. It's so we don't feel like somebody will be like, oh, women just don't have the confidence. What do you say to women to get? We don't not have the confidence, okay? We push babies, and like we literally cater for all of society so that men don't have to do any emotional labor. We're not confident. We're not comfortable is the thing. We are not comfortable. Because at the end of the day, also, you're trying to think, like, is everybody such a boys club? Like, everybody's besties, right? So you're trying to think, if one person does something bad to me, will the other people stand up, or will just be like, oh, no, that's my homie, that doesn't. And then you have nowhere to go because it's such an insular community. So that stuff is what's scary. Yeah.
I think the industry has been growing. There's a lot more comedians now than there were when I started 3 years ago. 3 years ago. Two. There's a lot more new comedians being brought up on stage. Whether or not they stay or they grow, that's up to them. But definitely, every show, there's a bunch of new comedians. And so I think the industry is growing. I think we are also growing as comedians. Our jokes are evolving, our humor is evolving, and keeping up with the times.
Yeah, inenge ichiriko. Yeah, I think it's just difficult in Zim because like a lot of the arts, like a lot of the different sectors of the arts industry are not really sustainable because you're not getting paid, so you now have to do other things. Now you can't focus on it to just create and stuff like that. So I think that's just going to be a huge problem in terms of growth of the industry. So in the next 5 years, I am hoping to see the industry become more sustainable. I'm hoping to see people see it as a viable career path, so that it's not just something you do in your spare time.
I hate these questions because they always reveal that I have like a lack of vision or something. I don't know, I'm too scared to dream, but then also if you say your dreams, people will be like, oh, she has a god complex. So I'm going to move in silence. When I see the industry, I think like Doc and other people did really great work, so I do see ourselves, Corona permitting, because we were really on a roll till Corona hit. I see us having so many more shows, so many more performance spaces, and people really being in the culture of, because I remember in like 2014 14, I really was like book cafe basically like almost every weekend. So that's what I see as having, and not just, and different venues as well, and different nights. So it's not everybody is at Reps tonight. It's like you can pick whatever style of comedians you want, and we have different styles of shows. So if you want the XYZs, you're gonna go there that night, and I think also, especially in the awards as well, just more of a differentiation between types of comedy. So sketch comedy having its own awards, and stand-up comedy having its own awards, because a lot of the times those two are blended, and then sketch is going to win because that's the one that has a more online presence. So just not like it's disrespectful or something, but just looking at and respecting stand-up more as its own art form, and all of us growing and having an actual scene. I think that'd be really great in the next 5 years. And for me, yeah, just being able to be a part of that, growing in the community, growing my skills, and making people feel good, I hope, within 5 years.
I'm a bit of a cocky person. I'm very much... I'm a bit of a cocky person. So I work my hardest to get my jokes to the best they can be for a particular performance. But I am always open to criticism. People always have good things to say about your show, but people need to stop with unsolicited advice. Like, I don't like when someone just comes and says, you know, your set was great, but I think you should have been more energetic. You should have said this instead of this. Don't talk about women, don't talk about men, talk about this, that, and you know, it's my set and it's my art, not yours. How I formulate it is how I formulate it. How you interpret it is up to you.
Just do it. Just do it. Everybody deserves a chance, and the more you practice, the better you get. So, you know, get started, get in touch with people who are in the industry. A lot of the people are very nice, they're very helpful. So give it a shot if you feel like that's what you want to do. And don't copy anybody's jokes, because that would be embarrassing if you got caught. So, yeah.
Just get up on stage and do it. There's no... Number one, you will never feel ready. Even if you write your set and read it and write it and edit it and read it and write and edit it, it just will never feel perfect to you because you are the author. But someone will always relate to your content and form connections. You don't have to over-explain yourself. The best way to learn is to do it. I learned a lot more by experience than through anything else, through any lecture, any unsolicited advice, any good criticism. The best is to just go on stage and do it. Also, the guys sometimes just ain't shit. You just have to take it with a pinch of salt, and know what you're there for. Don't expect handouts. Don't expect people to look for you when opportunities arrive. Always, when opportunities do arrive, be ready. Be somewhat prepared, you know, have that go-to set that when push comes to shove, you can just say it out without having to practice it or having to write it or edit it or anything.
Please laugh. If you see us struggling, just do like one, like, ha, and then it encourages other people to.
This is Boki Balshith. He's 8 weeks old. He's my new puppy. I got him because I don't have any friends. So it felt like I could just buy one who I forced to be friends with me because I feed him and stuff. So yeah, it's my bestie.
Anything else that you may want to say?
I hadn't thought that far. I was ready for the questions. Stay in school. Don't do drugs. Whatever happens in life, just get up and show up. Things aren't always rosy. Just get up and show up. I think on nights that there's no saying. Okay, on nights that I kill, sometimes I'm expecting to kill, sometimes not so much. But nights that I kill, I noticed a lot is in the energy of the audience. So if the audience is ready to laugh, they've been hyped up, it's a big audience, because there's a difference between a big audience and a small, intimate audience. Big audiences, there's a lot of energy. So the moment someone goes, ha, everyone else is like, ah, they all start laughing. In small crowds, sometimes one person can be laughing throughout the whole set. So I end up performing for that one person, because I'm like, you know, fuck the rest of all. Fuck the rest of you guys. It's about me and this person now. And of course I get off stage like feeling amazing. The rest of the night is always great. On days that I bomb is different things also. Like if my mindset is not in the performance, sometimes my jokes I don't deliver them as well as I could. So if they don't land and the crowd doesn't get the punchline, they don't laugh. Sometimes the crowd is just a tough crowd. You get an audience that's just there with like, they're just mean mugging at you. Like, so what's so funny? Anyone, anything else? No? It's kind of I was having fun. Yes.
If you see us saying the same thing, it's like we're trying to get it right, you know, like so we're trying to perfect it, edit it, and like that's how we edit, by saying out loud and see what works and what doesn't. Also, we're not funny all the time, shame. Some of us are actually very depressed, but like we're still funny, so we make it work. But yeah, please don't be like, you're a comedian, tell me a joke, because I will straight up just save my life. That moment backstage, we're like, why do I keep signing up for this shit?
Why this
Exactly, but like you want it, so it's like coming painfully.
Oh no, he's very smart. He never pees on people. He doesn't pee on the bed, but he just he pees on the floor. So he'll know that he needs to get off of you so that he can go pee. He's very smart, like his mother.
Oh my god, last night I was stressing, and everybody was blaming me because like my face looked stressed. I was just like the whole night. They're like, you're ruining the vibes. I was like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm holding in like 6 liters of shit and I'm trying not to panic. Please check out Sekasai Collective on Instagram. Please join us, come to our events, come to Simuka comedy events, come to all of the events, all of the comedy and stand-up events, like support, because we're here to make people laugh and make people feel seen and heard, and that's what we like. And if it does engage with you, say something, tell us like, this is what, I had a good time and thank you so much for doing this, because it means it's something nice. You're not just, you know, saying whatever the voices in your head are saying to a monolith of audience members, as you'd normally do like in the bathroom when you're practicing your Oscar acceptance speech. So yeah, and thank you to the people who do come. Thank you. Again, this art is to be consumed, so we would just be talking to ourselves if the audience didn't come. So thank you, and I hope you enjoy the festival. I hope you enjoy the work we do. And yeah, thanks for having me.